Please join me in welcoming Tess.
Hey, Jitesh.
Tess,
Yeah.
I just shared with everybody here, the thousands more online, that we're ushering in the era of ubiquitous enterprise intelligence and automation. You ready to deliver the goods?
Absolutely, I am. This is very exciting, and I thought what better way than to ground us here in a real-world example. So
Awesome.
Today, we're going to talk through the unemployment benefits process. So this is a vital lifeline, but it's often bogged down by complexity and confusion and delays. Unstructured content slows down the process and causes errors. In fact, I found this unbelievable. In FY24 alone, the US government made nearly $5 billion in improper unemployment payments because of errors and fraud, which is staggering.
5 billion, wow.
5 billion, yeah. But beyond the financial impact, caseworkers are spending hours doing manual reviews across many disparate systems, which is frankly just pulling them away from interacting with people who need their support most. But luckily, as you said, Agentic AI gives us a better way. So I'm so excited today to be showing us how the Hyland agent mesh combined with the enterprise context engine are powering a reimagined unemployment process. We're gonna see 4 times faster processing and incredible productivity increases. So you guys ready to take a look?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, just get my demo set up here and we are ready to go. So I am going to begin as an applicant on a state unemployment benefits site where unfortunately I need to apply for unemployment. So I'm gonna click apply now and I'm greeted by our application assistant who informs me they're gonna make this process as painless as possible.
This benefits website powered by Hyland's Enterprise Agent Mesh and the Content Innovation Cloud.
Exactly, yes. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. And just really quickly, I need to provide my reason for unemployment. I was laid off, and we'll go ahead and click submit. And then of course, there's some documents they'll need from me. So I'm gonna browse out and find what I've compiled to go with my application. And I will upload those and click submit. And here, as they like to say, is where the magic really starts to happen. So our application assistant is invoking a mesh of agents that are gonna power this process. So you can see they're beginning by orienting themselves to the task, analyzing those documents that I provided, and basically making sure that I am who I say I am and that the documents are legitimate. From here, they're able to go out and retrieve any additional information that's needed. So that could include statutes and eligibility guidelines. They can cross-reference other sources, both internal like SAP or external like government databases, and even public sites to validate my work history.
The power of our Content Federation service.
Exactly, yes. And then from here, they can also identify additional programs that I might be eligible for during my time of unemployment. Now, once they've compiled all of that information, these agents are able to make an educated and very well-informed decision on my eligibility for unemployment. And once that decision is made, they can execute on it, which in this case means they're gonna finalize my application for me with all of that information, assess it for readiness, and get it submitted. So in just about, a minute or so, agents were able to power that whole process, and I'm now being provided with a summary of my completed application, my case manager contact info, and I'm told I'll have an in-person interview within a day or so. So I'm gonna say, I've got that. And on my final screen here, I'm introduced to some additional programs that I am eligible for. So the agents identified for these programs for me as well, and I can actually apply right from here. So something that previously would have taken days, if not hours, has been completed by our agent mesh in a matter of minutes.
Now, I got to ask, and it's probably because I've been watching a lot of Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter with my kids, but what kind of sorcery is this? What wizardry is this?
Fair question. I figured you might ask, right? So we've got some slides here to help us visualize what's really happening behind the scenes. So we'll go ahead and pull up those slides. And here we go. So you just saw an agent rather, orient itself to the task at hand, retrieve whatever information was needed, make a decision, execute on that, and review it for readiness for that one unemployment application that we submitted. But this scales to the hundreds, if not thousands of applications that state agencies are processing daily. And of those thousands, only a fraction will actually need human oversight. And why is that? Well, because it's not just one agent, it's a mesh of agents, each one focused on a specific task, but all working together toward that common goal. And as you heard from Jitesh, they're informed by the enterprise context engine. So this is going to provide that historical data and institutional knowledge that results in very sound reasoning from our agents and confident actions. And then from here, it's not just, of course, the unemployment mesh. It's all core areas of the state agency able to collaborate together via MCP, as you heard Colleen say, which is that open standard for interoperability, which means actually, since it's an open standard, these agents can collaborate with non-Hyland agents as well.
Extremely important, the interoperability.
Yes, absolutely.
So on this wizardry and magic, there's a lot of folks that have been freed up from the mundane. What do they get up to?
What are they doing? Yeah, so they're going to get to focus on more strategic and engaging work. But rest assured, there's still plenty of work to go around for all of us, and there will be those complex or nuanced issues where we still need human oversight. So let me show you an example of what one of those might look like. So in this case, I'm going to go to my caseworker dashboard. So now we're the caseworker working through the unemployment cases. And you can see on my dashboard, I'm armed with all the information that will enable me to do my job. I've got a bunch of performance metrics in the center here compiled by my agents so I can see number of active cases, average resolution time, and then I have the full list of cases down below that I can expand upon. But it's up above where we have those handful of cases that are requiring a human to interject. So I'm going to look at our first fraud case, and when I click review, our agents are actually collaborating to provide me a just-in-time user interface that's going to provide me with the most up-to-date information. So here we have Marcus. He just submitted his case today, and the reason that we're looking at it is because there were potential fraud flags identified, which is our rule for having a human interject in the process. But what's really interesting is down below that, we can see in our description that although there are 3 potential fraud flags, our agents find them all to be explainable and think that this is likely not fraud. And for even more context, I can look below and see the reasoning behind each flag. So for flag 1, our agents knew of Marcus's non-fraudulent past denial, and they were also able to explain the employer name and IP address differences. So this is saving me as a caseworker loads of time having to go through repetitive investigation steps, and I can move this process along much quicker and reduce overall fraud risk. So I feel good about dismissing this and advancing his application. I'm going to add this AI-generated note to the case, so we remember what happened here. And then at this point, I feel very confident approving Marcus for benefits on the very same day that he applied.
This is incredible work. Now, what's interesting about this, though, Tess, is the AI agents had all the information, and they recommended that this be approved. Why didn't they just approve it?
Good question, and that's because we have guardrails in place, right, for when an agent will need a human to interject. And every organization will be able to design their own decisioning framework around escalations. But I also have to point out, agents are providing us with new levels of transparency. We're going to be able to see why an agent made a decision, what they did, any other institutional knowledge. It's no longer just trapped up in someone's brain. It's going to be evident and audible, which from a compliance standpoint is huge.
Critical. Transparency is critical for adoption.
Yes.
How are we solving for that?
Let's take a look. Let's look at this transparency. So at this point, we're no longer the caseworker, we're now the administrator, and I am on my enterprise mesh dashboard. So you can see there's our unemployment benefits mesh along with all the other core functional areas within our agency. So I'm going to look at our unemployment agent mesh and just quickly expand the bottom here where we can see even more agent mesh KPIs like time to process, and even potential bottlenecks in the process itself. But if we come back out here to our agent mesh, you'll see each agent has their own relevant KPIs, but we can also see how this mesh is structured, which I think gives us some insight into how it was configured in the first place. If you look to the left, our unemployment assistant agent is actually the orchestrator. So they're going to coordinate the flow of work, pass context between the agents, and make sure that all of their outputs are really aligning to the overall goal of this mesh. And if I want to add another agent, all I have to do is click Add Agent, and I could select from our library of existing agents, or as you can see, create a new one. But let's look at some more of that transparency. So I'm going to come into my fraud detection agent. Again, loads of amazing KPIs for this agent in particular. But what I want to take a look at is our agent activity tab where we see all of that transparency. So every action, every decision made by this agent is right here. And we can drill into, here's the action that we just took on Marcus Ellis. You can see all of the steps and the reasoning behind them. And to the right-hand side, you can see the guardrails that were in place for this agent at the time of these actions. So just, again, a remarkable level of transparency. And I can understand that this could feel futuristic for some folks out there, so I want to end here on our configuration tab. And you'll notice here that this agent configuration screen is the exact same screen that we just saw Colleen show a moment ago, powered by the Hyland Agent Builder. So these tools are available today. You can realize this future today.
Extremely important. And as we launch and release these new context engine services and new mesh capabilities, all of it is automatically available in the Content Innovation Cloud for our users.
Yes, yep, that single integrated cloud platform. And I'm glad you mentioned cloud, because I'll end on one last point here. You know, prior to 2010, government cloud use was banned. And it wasn't long before that that internet use and email use were heavily restricted. So I guess my point being that a lot of these technologies that are initially deemed risky end up becoming standard practice. So I think we all collectively have an opportunity in this era of agentic AI to really level up and take the reins, because this evolution is built on your foundation.
You know, they say you can embrace AI and intelligence and shape your organization, or let AI and intelligence shape you. Incredible stuff. Congratulations. A round of applause for Tess.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Nicely
Thanks
done.
to Tess.
Thank you.